Well, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending where you're joining me from. It's always hard to say over the internet. So, welcome to our course tonight, our Investing Income Challenge. My name is Ron Wheeler. We're going to start officially in about 4 minutes or so. And I just like to open up the room, make sure everything is broadcasting and everything is working and all that kind of great stuff. So, do me a favor, if you can hear my voice, if you can see the screen, I'm going to flash the screen real quick just so you guys can see the slides changing. If you can see the slides changing and you can hear my voice, just do me a favor, let me know. And that way I know that everything is working and we, from a technology standpoint, are good to go. And God bless my lovely wife who's calling me right now, right when I'm starting a seminar. I love her. She knows my schedule. Oh my gosh. She calls me every time I'm starting a class. I'm not going to answer. She knows better. But good deal. I see Michael and Elaine and Chris and Terry and Raymond and Babette, Jay, Steve, Bill, Michael, James, Gary, Neil, Frank, Peter, Gary, another Peter in there. Let's see. Andrea, Rob, Jack. Good to hear. Excellent. Looks like from what I can see, we are hearing me loud and clear, and that's a good thing. Frederick and Peter again. Or another Peter. Wow, there's like three of them in here now. Cool. That's like the popular name today. Well, we're going to get started officially in about 3 minutes. But like I said, I just want to start the classroom and get things rolling a little bit early to make sure that there's no errors with technology or anything. Every now and then that happens where I forget to do something, so it's always nice to know. Well, hey, just curious, where are you guys watching the presentation from? What area code, state, or whatever are you guys then? I'm in Ohio, just so if you're interested. VectorVest, where I work for VectorVest, we have an office in Ohio and we have an office in North Carolina. I'm the only education guy based in Ohio, so I'm out here by myself with all my colleagues down in North Carolina. I'm all by my lonesome up here, but that's okay. I'm all right. That way, I get some peace and quiet. No, I'm just kidding. I love my colleagues. I see Lake Geneva, California, Arizona, Tucson, New Jersey. Ah, nice, Bill, North Carolina, the other side of the lake from the headquarters. Awesome. Oh, cool. Welcome. Excellent. Sydney. Wow, that's pretty far. Kansas, Indiana, Atlanta, New Jersey, Oregon, Montreal, Saskatchewan, San Jose, Utah. Okay, all over the place. A couple of folks from Australia. Good to hear. Orlando. Nice. Oh, Naples. Love it, Dick. Welcome. That's I always joke that, well, I don't even joke actually. That's kind of where I where I plan on buying a condo at some point. My neighbors have a condo in Naples, so I'm like, we always joke that we're all going to retire down there together. They're about 10 years ahead of us, to be fair, so they already got their place. We're still working on it. We'll have to see how the condo thing happens in Florida because right now the condo thing's kind of rough. I know. Decatur, good. John, hello to you too. Sandy, you as well. Belgium, Texas, awesome. Good. So it looks like kind of from all over the place. Great. About uh, that's the cool thing about webinars. You know, I get to do this from the comfort of my home office today. Yesterday I did one of these and I was doing it from my office in Akron, but I get to do it from my home office today 'cause it's 4:30. So it's kind of nice to be able to broadcast this kind of all over the place. Always good. All right. Well, anyway, it is now 4:30 Eastern Time. So let's go ahead and get started with tonight's presentation, the Investing Income Challenge, how you can make consistent income with one trade. So I want to welcome you. We do this challenge once a year. It's time to do it again. And it's all based on the fact that you need a way to generate consistent income. Generating income, it's critical to retiring with peace of mind. It gives you the ability to be independent and not rely on others because you'll have income for life. With an income source, you might even find that you can retire younger than you originally planned. Now, throughout this income challenge, we're going to work closely with you. So by the end, you'll have placed your first income trade. And ideally, it's going to be the first of many of your trades. Now, here's what we're going to do. First off, we're going to discuss the challenge that's put in front of you. After that, I feel it's important to discuss the benefits of completing the challenge. In other words, why it should be important to you. And then we're going to spend a good amount of time looking at the actual trade you're going to learn to use to generate income. Now, we'll finish up by looking at what you need to do to get started so you can start generating an income in about 1 week from now. So if that sounds good, let's get to it. Okay, let's talk about the challenge. What exactly is the challenge put in front of you? To put it very simply, you're challenged to learn an income trade and then place the trade within a span of a week and a half. Okay, so not a 3 month process. You're going to be doing this within a week and a half. Now, here's how we're going to do it. All of the training for this is available to you immediately. The videos that we have available will take less than an hour to watch, so you can get through all the training in just about an hour. Now, I say a week and a half. Let me give you kind of a schedule to what we're going to do. In addition to the recorded training, we're going to hold live trading sessions each day for 4 days. They start next week on Tuesday. They go at 4:30. Okay. You can learn the trade in about an hour from the pre-recorded training, but we want to be there live just in case you have questions or need help. So what we're going to do next week is we're going to spend Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday with our sessions. The first half hour is going to be we're teaching it. You can watch the recording. You can watch us teach live. You can do both if you want to. And then the second part of the session is going to be Q&A. And if you can't make the live sessions, that's okay. Simply watch the pre-recorded training videos. It's all good. Then on Monday, September 30th, you are going to place your first trade. Okay? We'll place a live trade with you on Monday morning, September 30th. You can follow along with me click by click if you'd like. Now, I want to do this real quick. The income challenge involves learning an option trade. So let me do a quick survey to get a feel for your options experience. So bear with me just a second while I launch that. Last time I did this, I forgot how to launch a survey. It took me a while because in my go-to meeting, it says polls. I was looking for survey. So on the screen, you're going to see a survey. I want you to click on the choice that most closely matches your options experience. So rate it from 1 to being brand new, 2 beginner, you've done a call or a put, intermediate, you've done spreads like covered calls, and maybe 4, you've done crazy things like broken wing butterflies and iron condors and all kinds of cool stuff. So I'll give you guys a minute or so to go ahead and complete that. Looks like a lot of you have already completed that. I like that. That's good. And, one of the things I will tell you while you're doing the survey, several years ago, my teammate Brian, you're going to hear from him at the end as we do a Q&A together. His 14-year-old daughter at the time, she's older now, but he taught his 14-year-old daughter at the time how to do this. She copied everything down in her notebook, and she was able to place these trades by herself. So it's something, pretty good. Now, I'm confident, though, if she can do it, so can you guys too. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close the poll, and I'm going to share those results with you. So it's kind of interesting. It's always interesting to me, because I'm such an options guy, and I deal with probability and bell curves and stuff. It's always like a bell curve, where the majority of people have beginner to intermediate experience with options. That's good. You know what a call is. You know what a put is. Maybe you know the idea of selling an option, buying an option. That's good. Couple of you are more in the advanced camp. You've done the crazy trades that I've probably done before. And some of you are brand new to options. Well, again, it doesn't really matter where you are in the grand scheme of this. This is something that even a beginner can do. Trust me. Okay? Trust me. All right. So let's talk about why you should take the challenge. Oops, let me hide that. There we go. Let's talk about why you want to take this challenge. I think it's important to discuss why you should take it in the first place. So in other words, what are the benefits of you completing this challenge? Because if there's not any benefits, why do you do something in the first place? So I want you to see if any of these benefits would help you. Oops, my screen froze up there a little bit. Why is it not? There we go. All right, first, learning this income trade is going to provide you with income for life. At some point, you're going to stop working. It would be a huge benefit to have a way to continue to generate income from yourself. Now, this trade you're going to learn the income challenge has historically over the last, and I think it's actually now 8 years instead of 6. Over the last 8 years, it's averaged about 2.5% per month. Now, keep in mind, think of all the markets we've had over the last 8 years: up, down, stable, volatile. Okay, we've averaged about 2.5% per month in income. So no matter what the market, we can place these trades. Now, the second benefit is you can do this trade with as little as $5,000 in your trading account. The barrier to entry is very small and virtually non-existent. Now, on the flip side, if you do have a larger account, you can also place this trade too. Now, benefit number three is that you can make some serious money very quickly. For example, if you did start with a $5,000 account, did you realize that a 2.5% gain per month compounded over 15 years puts you at over $400,000? And if you start with 25,000, you'd be near half a million after only 10 years. You're looking at some serious money. Now, the fourth benefit is the trade you're going to take and learn is very consistent. Historically, we've seen about 60% winning trades. So many people struggle for consistency and they lose more times than they win. And many times it's because they're trying to hit this big winner. The income challenge teaches you a system where you're making solid gains consistently. Small wins, small losses with a high success rate equals big gains over time. Now, you're going to have streaks where you exceed 60% trades. One of our students, Larry, learned the SPX system last year. We checked in on him a few months ago to see how things were going. And he said, trading has continued to go very well. Since the beginning, my stats are 22 wins and 2 losses, average of 4.8 contracts per trade, average gain of 500 bucks, average 6.5 days per trade. Total gain, 10,950. Started with a modest around $30,000 account. So Larry started off the year with a 91% winning trade rate. That's incredible. Okay. Again, I'm telling you historically 60% winning trades, but you're going to go on these streaks and these runs like this. And he's already started to make some serious money. Now, the fifth and sixth benefit I kind of put together. First, it takes a minimal amount of time to do this trade each week. And I'm not exaggerating when I say you can spend a total of 15 minutes per week on this income trade. And quite frankly, once you develop the muscle memory to do this and you've done a few trades, I think you can do this trade in less than a minute. It's not that difficult. You can do it with any broker software too. You don't need anything special for this. That's the cool part. Okay. And I said, it takes minimal effort. You know, like I said, my colleague Brian taught this to his then 14-year-old daughter and she could do it. There are simple rules. Okay. There's no guesswork here. You don't need to be an expert trader to do this. Look at a chart. What way is the market going? Place your trade. That's it. And it's a yes or no answer. That's it. It's yes or no. There's no like, okay, now I got to interpret this. Now I got to interpret this. Now I got to interpret this. No, it's yes, no. Do this, and do this. That's why this trade is so easy and so quick and simple. Okay? And the benefit number 7 is that you can get started right away. You're going to be able to place your first trade in 1 week. Because it's one trade, we're going to teach you the exact steps to where to put the trade, how to select the option, everything you need. It's quick, it's simple. There's no interpretation needed. So, very quickly, in the chat, do this. Let me know if any of these benefits would be good for you. If so, how many of these benefits would be good for you? All of them, a couple of them? How many of these benefits would be good? Ah, right off the bat, I see all of them. Everything except number 7. I like that. You know why I like that? Because you know that you're going to do something. So, hey, if I get started right away, that's great. But if it takes me a couple weeks to get started, that's fine too. I like that attitude. I do like that. And I see all Neil and Steve and Jack, all Michael, Andrea, Gary, okay? All of that stuff. All right, good. And they really are that easy. So let's talk about the trade itself. Today, we're going to spend a good amount of time teaching you how the trade works. We want you to feel totally comfortable with the trade before you decide to join us in the challenge. Now, before I do, I want to introduce myself again. My name is Ron Wheeler. I've been trading now for 27 years. And for the last several years, I've been head of our Ultimate Retirement Solution Group coaching here at VectorVest. Now, several years ago, actually it's been about 9 years ago, we put together a course called the Options Paycheck. And that taught an option trade called a credit spread. The goal of the course was to teach investors a way to generate consistent income, and it became wildly popular. It still is. One of the coolest things we did, though, was we took the technique that we taught in the paycheck class and we simplified it even more. That way, you could get the benefits of the income system and get results very, very quickly. So today, I want to teach you how that system works. Now, what I did was I took the paycheck system and I broke it down into a super simple system. Now, I want you to think of it as like the 5 ones because it uses one ticker symbol, it's one type of trade, it has one entry rule, one profit rule, one stop criteria. And that's allowed us to take anyone, regardless of experience, and show them how to successfully place an income trade. We call it the SPX paycheck. So I want to look at how this works. Now, before I go into this, okay, I want to say this. It's okay if you don't understand all of this right now. From the survey, there were some of you that didn't have any experience with options, and I get that, okay? So if you're not seeing the picture here, it's okay. We'll get there. So there might be some things you don't understand, and that's okay. Some of you who trade options may understand this, but if you don't worry. You don't need to understand it right now, tonight. Now, the stock market has trends. When the market goes up, most stocks go up. When the market goes down, most stocks go down. We believe, and our results have shown, that you should not fight the trend. We call that philosophy riding the wave. We want to go with the flow of the market. Now, history has shown that the market continues in the direction of the trend for some time, and then a new trend will ultimately form. Now that we know that, I want to look at probability. Okay, we're going to be trading in the direction of the overall market. So when the market's bullish, we're going to place bullish trades. When the market's bearish, we're going to place bearish trades. The market only goes two directions, up or down. Now you can argue with me and say, Ron, it goes sideways too, but it's a sideways in a series of either up or down. Okay, so now what we got to do, once we know the market direction, we're going to look at probability. Here's where the trade magic really starts to work here. During a market uptrend, the market tends to go higher anyway. So you're going to be placing a bullish trade. Now, how can you increase the probability of success? Well, I want you to look over on the left right here. Think of this as the market, the S&P 500 exactly. Okay? This represents the price of the S&P 500. Now, if you went out there and bought the S&P 500, you have a 50-50 chance of making money, right? Because the market could go up or it could go down. All right? That's what probability says. Now, if that's the case, the more room you give it to the downside, you're increasing the area the stock is likely to be in the future. So, for instance, if the S&P is right here and I pick a price underneath the S&P, okay, I'm increasing the area that the market is likely to be in the future. You can see here, the S&P is more likely to be in this green area than in the red area. It's no longer a 50-50 scenario because if the S&P goes up, we can make money. If the S&P goes sideways, you're still in that green area and we can make money. If the S&P goes down a little bit, you're still in that green area and you can still make money. So let's put some numbers to this, okay? If I choose a price a little below the current price of the market, now when I say market, I want you to correlate that with the S&P 500. That's what we're playing here. Instead of a 50-50 scenario, now you have a setup. You got to set up an area where the market has a 65% likelihood of being in and a 35% likelihood of not being in. Now, you can lower the price even more and thus change the percentages. So for instance, if I put my price down here, I have a 65% chance of staying in the green area. If I move the price all the way down here now, I have an 80% chance of staying in that green area. I can make money if the market goes up, sideways, or even down. Only a 20% chance of getting down here. Okay? The more room you give the market, the more likely it is to stay above your line. And if you're wondering where these probabilities come from, it comes from statistical studying. What's the market done in the past? That's what it's all about. Where's it gone in the past? It's all statistical study. Now, during a downtrend, the thinking is exactly the same. We just flip it over. You're going to be bearish on the market because the market goes down and it should continue going down. Now, again, since you have a 50-50 chance of going higher or lower, how can you increase your probability? Well, if the S&P is trading right here, we just choose a price higher than the current market price, and that gives me a chance to make money if the market continues its downtrend, if the market goes sideways, or even if the market goes up a little bit, because we're more likely to be in this area than we are to be up there. Now, again, you can set the same probabilities as before. Probabilities change depending on how much room you give the stock to move. Now, the SPX Paycheck has two trades. One starts with about a 65% probability, and the other starts with about an 80% probability. Now, the income challenge, we're going to teach you the 65% version. And you might be thinking, well, Ron, that doesn't make any sense. Why wouldn't you teach it the 80%? Because I'd have a greater chance of winning, right? And that is true. But there's a lot more involved in managing that trade. Okay? The 65% trade is very simple to set up. It's very simple to manage. There's no, repair rules or anything like that. And it performs amazingly over time. You saw it. 2.5% on average over the last 8 years. It's actually even outperformed the 80% version of the trade. So even myself, who I've been doing these trades now for 15 years, even myself, I've transitioned over to that 65% trade as well. It's the one that I do every week. Now, we just flip things over when we're bearish. So bullish, we predict the market's going up. We continue doing bullish trades. Bearish, we go down. We predict do bearish trades. Now, let's talk about the trade setup. Remember, as I said before, it's okay if you don't understand all this right now because you don't need to understand it perfectly tonight. The bullish trade uses options. When the market is bullish, we use options called puts. Now, in this trade, it is a 2 option leg strategy. We are going to go below the current price of the SPX index, and we are going to sell a put. At the same time, we are going to go even further below the price of the put that we sold, and we are going to buy a put in one transaction. Now, the put that we buy, we call this your insurance leg because it protects you. It limits the amount that you can lose on this trade, and it makes it a very low risk trade. Very, very low entry fee with that insurance leg. It protects you against volatility. It's a hedge in case you're wrong on direction. It does a lot of good stuff for you. That's why we use it. Okay? Now remember, both of these are going to be placed in the same order. This newly created spread will have a price, and it trades like a stock does. It's going to go up in value, go down in value. It changes price just like a stock. You enter and exit the trade, very similar to a stock. Just because it's options doesn't mean it's different. It still goes up and down in value, and you enter and exit at different prices. This is called a bull put vertical credit spread. Okay? Bull because we do it when the market's bullish. Puts because we're using puts. Credit because you're getting paid credits when you place the trade. Now, when the market's going down, we do a bearish trade. In this trade, we're going to use calls. We're going to go above the current price of the S&P, and we're going to sell a call. In the same transaction, we're going to go even higher above the price that we sold a call for, and we're going to buy a call. Remember, that call that we bought, we call that the insurance leg. It protects you, hedges against volatility, adds a little bit of profit if the trade goes against you to reduce your losses, makes this a trade that you don't have to sell naked options to do. A lot of good benefits of this. As I said before, this is done in one transaction on the same order ticket. The newly created spread, still the same thing. It's got a price that you enter. It's going to have a price that you exit. It trades just like a stock does. This is called the bear call vertical credit spread. Bear because you do it when the market's bearish. It's kind of nice how it names itself that way. Calls because we're doing this with calls. Credit spread again because we're doing this and we're collecting credits. Okay, I'll explain that here in a few minutes. So, quick summation. Bullish trade, bull puts. We're going to go underneath the market. We're going to sell a put. We're going to go further underneath that and buy our insurance leg put. Bearish trade, we're going to go above the current market price or the S&P 500 price. We're going to sell a call. We're going to go even further above that, and we're going to buy a call in the same transaction. The bear call credit spread. So, let's talk about opening and closing these trades. Okay? Here's how this works. Now, this is a little bit different. For those of you that have never sold options or done option credit spreads before, the concept ultimately is kind of like when you buy things, except it's just reversed. When we enter a trade, you get paid. You get paid to place the trade. Not like when you buy a stock, right? You have to pay the broker to buy the stock. This is a credit spread. So when you enter the trade, you actually get paid because you're selling something. They pay you. Now, don't just think that, okay, well, I sold something, I got paid, and now my trade is done. No, it doesn't work that way, right? It's not like when you put your dining room set on Facebook Marketplace and somebody buys it and they go home with your dinette set and it's all done, right? It doesn't work that way. This is more like insurance. You pay your insurance premium and the insurance company cashes the check, they collect your premium, but they don't just keep your premium and go on with their life. They have to actually offer you something for that. They're going to protect your property for a month or 3 months or 6 months or a year, however long you buy the insurance for, right? Options are the same thing. When I enter the trade, I'm basically selling someone a contract to do something, and I collect money to do it. Now, when I exit the trade, money now goes out of my account. So when I enter the trade, I get money coming in. When I exit the trade, I have money going out. The goal for this is when I exit the trade to not give as much out as I initially collected when I entered. When that happens, you make money. So let's put some numbers behind this. Let's say when you enter the trade, you get paid $2,500. When I close the trade, I now take $1,250 out of my account and I have to close the trade by paying off the trade. Because I only paid $1,250, I still have $1,250 of the initial credit that I received. I just made $1,250, and that's a profitable trade. Now, the reverse. What happens when you lose money? Well, you're still going to collect money when you enter the trade, but to close the trade, you still have to pay. That means you're going to give the money back that you collected at the beginning, and you're going to have to dig in a little bit more out of your trading account to pay off the loss. So here's how this works. When we enter the trade, we got paid $2,500. When we close the trade, we're paying $3,750. Now, on a good note, out of that $3,750, $2,500 of it is the credit that we took in when we put the trade on. So our true loss on this trade is $1,250. We're going to pay him back $3,750. We give back the $2,500 that we took when we opened the trade, and then we dig into our account for $1,250 or an extra $1,250, and we take our loss. Now, where do these numbers come from? $2,500 to open, $3,750 to close, or $2,500 to open, $1,250 to close. Where does that money come from? This is how it works. When you enter the trade, remember we talked about you're going to sell an option and you're going to buy an option. When you sell the option, you're going to collect money for it, right? When you sell something, you get paid, all right? When you buy the insurance, you're going to have to pay for it. Now, the key here is this. When we sell the option, we're going to collect more money for selling that option than we're going to spend on the insurance leg. The result of that is we're going to get and keep some of that premium. Now, we keep that premium until we close the trade. So again, in this example, let's say when we sold the put, we received $3,500. When we buy the insurance, it cost me $1,000. That means when I enter the trade, I got paid $2,500. Now, let's say the market moves higher like we hope it does. What's going to happen is as the market moves higher, the price of your options will go down in price. So that option that we originally sold for $3,500 is now trading for $1,750. We can exit the trade by paying the $1,750 and we keep the difference. That option that we bought, we paid $1,000 for. It went down in price also because the market moved up. That means we can now sell that option for $500. We lose $500. Now, the net result of that is that $1,250. When we first entered the trade, we sold the option for $3,500. We used $1,000 to buy our insurance. We received $2,500. To close the trade of all of your obligations, we're going to get rid of that option we sold. We're going to find somebody to rip up the contract with. We're going to pay $1,750. Okay? That means we made $1,750 on the option that we sold. But the option that we bought it for $1,000. Now we're going to sell it to somebody else for $500, and we took a $500 loss. The net result is we're closing the trade, we're paying $1,250, and we're now done. We just made $1,200. Because remember, you collected $2,500 when you entered the trade, you paid $1,250 when you exited, you keep the $1,250. Now, a bearish trade works exactly the same way. You're going to receive more money for the call that you sold than it costs to buy the insurance. In other words, you receive money to place this trade. Remember, they're entered on the same order. The newly created spread's price is the net of the two individual legs of the spread. So again, let's put some real numbers to this. We entered the trade, we sold it, we collected $5,000 when we sold the calls. But we got to buy insurance on the trade. Okay? We paid $2,000 for the insurance. The net result of that trade is when we entered the trade, we got paid $3,000. Now, again, it's not like I'm selling my furniture on Facebook, right? It's not like that. I have a trade on. At some point, I have to close the trade. I'm either going to close it for a higher price, bad, or a lower price, good. In this case, the S&P 500 moves lower. It's what we wanted it to do in a bearish trade. The price of our options, they fall. The option that we sold for $5,000, we can exit that position by paying $2,500 now. We're going to collect $2,500. We keep $2,500 of the option premium that we sold. The call that we bought, we paid $2,000 for. Now we can exit that trade at a loss for $1,000. The net result is we exit the trade and we pay $1,500. We entered, we got paid a net of $3,000. We close, we pay a net of $1,500, and we have a $1,500 profit on this trade. Okay? That's how these trades work. All right? So that's the internal price structure. Now, again, if you don't understand this, it's okay. The biggest hurdle that I want you to get past here is this. Number one, understand that when you sell an option or you sell a credit spread like we're doing, right? You don't just collect money and walk away. When you sell something, you still have a trade on. It's got to be exited at some point at a price. No different than when you buy a stock. If you buy a stock for $100 a share, at some point you have to exit it. Hopefully when you buy a stock, you exit at a higher price and make money. Hopefully you don't exit at a lower price and lose money. Now, when you do credit spreads like this, it's just a reverse logic. All the money comes to you at the front. The maximum amount of money that you can make comes to you right up front. But at some point, you got to close the trade. Hopefully, you close it for less money than you took in, and you keep the difference. Sometimes, however, you exit the trade for more than you collected, and you have a loss. That's really the key. Okay? Now, we just looked at the first part of what you would learn during that income challenge. Now, there's more steps for us to cover, such as how you're going to control your risk. What do you trade? When do you trade? Well, Ron, you sell an option. Where do you sell the option? Why do you buy the insurance? Where do you buy the insurance? All that stuff, right? We're going to go over that, of course, and also how to enter the trade. So there's still more, obviously, that you need to learn. Now, let's talk about how to get started. We put together the Investing Income Challenge for you to help you place your first of what we hope is many income trades. And here's how we're going to do it. As soon as you register, you're going to receive immediate access to a series of training videos, which we're going to walk through the trade. We're also going to hold live training sessions each day for 4 days next week. They start Tuesday, 4:30 p.m., and they go Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Okay? We have all those pre-recorded. You can watch them, or you can view it live with us if you want to. It's all good. The live sessions will take no more than an hour each. So as we talked about earlier, the first half of those sessions next week that are live, I actually teach it, and then I do a Q&A. And then the following Monday, September 30th, we're going to get together in the morning, and we're going to place a live trade with you. And you can follow us along, click by click, if you'd like. Now, as an extra bonus, after you place that first trade, we're going to continue to work with you through the month of October. So every Monday, we're going to walk you through setting up and placing an income trade during a live webinar. Now, that doesn't mean you have to place the trade on Monday. That's just when my schedule allows me to get together with you to place the trade. You can place the trade on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It doesn't matter when you place the trade. 10 a.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m., doesn't matter. This is just the time that I have allotted to do it with you. Okay? But you can do it anytime you want to in the grand scheme of things. Then on Friday, we're going to have an 11 a.m. Q&A session. This is just a live session where we can get together. We'll check in on the trade, see how it did, answer questions that you might have about the trade. We just want to make sure you're still on track. That way, if you're not quite ready to put the first trade on September 30th, that's okay. We're going to get together with you a lot more often than that. Then you can kind of work together and get you there. Now, here's the opportunity. If you're ready for the challenge, it's only $295, and I'll take you by the hand, help you place your first income trade. Just go to VectorVest.com/join challenge right now. We'll put that link in the chat box for you to click on. Together, we're going to do this. Now, here's a guarantee. We believe so much that you're going to love this income system, you're easily going to complete the challenge. But we offer you a 100% money back guarantee. You can go through the entire challenge, and if you're not satisfied, you get your money back. It's completely no risk. But you got to show you've done the work. Give it your best effort. We only want to work people to join the challenge if they're serious and excited to get started. So we hope you're one of them. Now, we've worked with so many different people over the years who have come to us with a variety of experience in their past. Here's the handful. When Jim came to us, he was inconsistent and unsatisfied with the results, but learned the system, and his first 21 trades were winners. Mike, when he came to us, he said he lost often and got to the point where he almost gave up. He learned the system and made $12,000 in his first 4 months. Mark had no experience at all with an income trade that we taught him, but only after an hour, he was able to place his first income trade by himself the next day in just 10 minutes. And again, Brian even showed this to his 14-year-old daughter at the time. She's never invested before in her life. She was able to take notes from her spiral notebook, place the trades by herself using Brian's account. Now, during the income challenge, we're going to be working with you to place these trades. Here's just a few more people, right? Gordon successfully completed the challenge of learning the trade. He said, just wanted to thank Ron for teaching me a method to create monthly income. I'm new to options investing, and I wish I took the course sooner, but let fear of options stop me. I finished the June course, and I've managed to make 3% of my trades for the month of July. We get posts like this each week where people talk about their weekly trades. Dan got a notification from Thinkorswim that he exited his trade with profits. He said, another winning trade followed around his teachings. Both Terry Knight and also had their trade closing at profits as well. Nav posted he started paper trading and so far had 75% winning trades with an average profit of $575. Couple important notes here. 65% probability is the baseline, 60% historically overall. But listen, it could be even greater than that since we teach kind of a secret weapon. We teach you how to use market direction to increase your probability. Varney said he had 18 out of 20 successful trades. It's a 90% winning trade rate. Gerald emails and said, place the SPX 35 Delta trade on 5/9, 2024, closed for profits the next day and paid for the course of that one trade. Made several before that. Just wanted to share and say thank you. Here I posted that my trade closed, and once again, others joined the conversation. So you can, notice that Bruce made $4,500 in his trade. You can scale it up, you can scale it down depending on the size of your account. Now, all these people we looked at, they're not professionals. They're not financial advisors or money managers, just ordinary people like you and me. Some had no experience at all. Now, this is not some sales pitch. This is just reality. If you want income, this is a trade to learn, and it's as simple as that. So let me ask you, are you up for the challenge? Let me know in the chat. If you're up for the challenge, give me a big yes in the chat box. I see my first yes right there, Peter. Yep. Yes, 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 yep. Okay, good. And let's talk about this a little bit more. Think about this. Our main goal is to make consistent, meaningful income. Is it achievable? The answer is definitely yes. You've seen us do all that real trading. Our test results show as well. Our client testimonials over the last several years since we started doing this repeat that. What's the likelihood you're going to achieve your goal? The answer to that is high. We've seen so many people succeed who have had no prior experience. How about the effort involved? Again, low. There's not a lot of work involved to learn and place this trade. What about the sacrifice? That too is low. At first, you're dedicating about an hour a day for a week, and you're doing that to gain an income system to use the rest of your life. Well, what about the risk? The risk is low. First, the investment is only $295. Plus, you have a money back guarantee. Additionally, the trade you learn is set up in a way that the losing trades have very minimal risk. What about the time commitment? That too is low. There's going to be some time dedicated to learn the system, of course, but even that is only an hour per day for a week. After that, you're looking at about 15 minutes per week. So at this point, you got a choice. Choice number one is you can do nothing. Stay exactly where you are right now. Or choice number two is to learn to generate income now. Now, of course, you can try to do it alone. If you're willing to work hard, spend hours in front of your computer, and willing to learn by trial and error, you might be able to pull it off. Or you can let us guide you during the challenge. Let us show you how to do it. We'll walk you through each part of the system. So I want you to go out your calendar, circle September 30th. Is that the day that you're going to watch come and go like so many people? Or is that going to be the day that you place your first income trade? And I want you to ask yourself, what's it costing you not to do this? Earlier we looked at the serious money that can be made. Would you exchange 295 one time right now to get that number every year? If the answer is yes, then go to www.vectorvest.com/join challenge. Now that 295 special is only available tonight, till tonight, 6 p.m. Then the price increases to 495, which is still a really good deal. Registration for the challenge is only open until Monday because we started on Tuesday. So get signed up for it today. Oh, by the way, if you've already taken the options paycheck course from us in the past, you can register for this for only 95 bucks. So if you're interested, you've taken the paycheck before and you want to do this, it's only 95 bucks. Just let us know. I think we already sent out emails to people that have taken the class before with a special link, or we can give you a link as well, or you can give us a call also and get the link from us. So do me a favor. If you know this is right for you, you're willing to take the challenge and work with us over the next week and day. That's what I love about this. It's so easy. It's so quick. We're going to have you trading in like a week. It's great. Let me know. Just say, I'm in. I'd love to welcome you to the class by name. All right. With that, I am going to bring in my colleague, Brian, and he's going to answer some questions, and he's going to do some Q&A with us, and we are going to answer any questions you have.
All right, fabulous. Ron, I don't know if you saw all the yeses that just came through. That's fabulous to see. It's great to have you all joining the challenge. It's exciting. It's one of those courses where, like, I think you just hinted at it, Ron. It's like bam, bam, bam. Like the challenge starts, and then we're ready to trade within a week. So it's pretty cool stuff. So Ron, I just want to give a couple of quick reminders, and I was going to shoot some questions over to you. Is that okay?
Sure.
All right, so quick reminders for everybody. One that Ron just mentioned is the discount is for this $295 is the lowest that we've got, right? Except for the thing that Ron mentioned as far as the people who've taken our options paycheck course. I'll talk more about that later on. But the $295 will go away in an hour, or actually less than an hour, and then it'll go up to $495. Right? And the $495 will be there until the registration closes, I believe, until, let's see. No, yeah, So the price increases to $495 today at 6, and then registration closes the 23rd. And you see, oh, thank you, Ron. There's a little countdown timer there. So what is that? Almost 4 days before registration closes, but the $295 will only last a short amount of time. If you do register today, like we had so many people like Michael and Harvey and Rudolph and so on, you get access to all the materials right away. So you don't have to wait until the live sessions start next week. You don't have to wait. You could start going through the training immediately. And who knows, if you wanted to, you could have gone through all the training. You might feel that you are ready to do your own trade next week without taking any of the live sessions. So you get all the you get all the recorded sessions available immediately, and you get a head start on everybody else. So that is if you order right away. And if you, like Ron said, if you've taken the options paycheck course, if you've taken that course, then you can get this challenge for $95 because we actually include the SPX paycheck inside of the options paycheck course. So this would be more like a refresher for you, depending on how long ago you took the options paycheck course. But one of the best things you could do is just check your email if you're Paycheck Alumni, and look for a link in that email. All right, with all those reminders, which I'll probably remind you of a little bit later on as well, we had some, I was talking to somebody in the chat, and he was saying, I'm trying to, I guess I have to paraphrase because I can't find it exactly. Basically, he couldn't believe the results. And because he's like, I tried doing some of these trades in the past and I had 3 losers in a row. So Ron, I was trying to tell him in the chat about how with a system where you had 65% winning trades, there's going to be strings of winners, strings of losers. But I wonder if you could touch on that. If somebody came to you and said, I had 3 losers in a row, and I don't believe you with that you've gotten such great results with this. What would you say?
I would say that yes, you probably did have 3 losers in a row. I would not deny that. In fact, I just came off of a 3 trade losing streak myself. And this week's S&P trade, compounded by the uptrend in the market and the help that they got the interest rates reduced this week, got me to break my losing streak of 3 trades. But yes, it does happen. Absolutely, it happens, and that's one of the things that I'm going to talk really slowly about for about 10 seconds until I pull this up. All right, this is what I wanted to show you guys again. We talked about this in the beginning, but this is the history of the trading system over from 2016 to 2022. Okay. And you can see there's runs where, look, our maximum, and again, this is my trades. Understand, you saw some people that had bigger winning streaks than this. That's fine. They might put their trades on a different day. I do everything pretty much by the book. I place my trades at 11 a.m. on Monday morning with my class. So my results may not equal everybody else's results, but you see it right here. The biggest winning streak I had over that 6-year cycle was I had an 11 trade winning streak. My maximum losing streak was 5 trades. And that probably happened, I'd say, probably somewhere in this area right here. Okay. But you're going to have those streaks where you go up. You're going to have some areas where you draw down. Now, I propose this as a once a week trade for you. So you may have where you make 8% in 1 month and then lose 3% the next month. You may lose 3% the month following that because there are streaks where, like right here, this was a series of 2.5 months where we didn't make any money, but then it did recover. So, yes, that can definitely happen, but it's one of those things where you just have to keep putting your foot on the pedal. You have to look at the history of the trade, know that the risk reward works out, and you're focusing on probability and controlling risk. And yes, there's going to be streaks of wins, there's going to be streaks of losses, but in the grand scheme of things, over the large course of the trade, you're going to make money. Now, the one thing I always say is this: I can't guarantee that we're going to make money together next month. I can't. Um, if I get a winning trade next week, my September is going to be a break even month. Because I had 3 losing trades coming in. I had my first winning trade this week, but I can't guarantee you. It's like I've had clients that came to me and started trading right here, and they made money and they did it really good for 3 years straight. But then you have people that come in when we're in the middle of a little bit of a decline right here, and they have to stick it out for 3 or 4 months before they start seeing profits. That's one of the things that you have to understand about an income approach like this. You're going to have your positives, you're going to have your negatives, but using probability, using good risk controls, the positives always overtake the negatives. So that's how real trading systems work in the world. I can't guarantee when the profits are going to come in, but I can guarantee they will over the course of time based on the history that we've seen.
And I will say this, looking at the surveys that come back from the students who've taken this and also taken our options paycheck course, one of the things that I hear over and over in those surveys is how much people appreciate Ron's openness, his genuineness. I think that's the right word. That and his basically he basically is super truthful and open about everything that he's doing in his account. So you're going to see the good, the bad, the ugly, the great. He doesn't hide anything from you. So you're gonna see the account during the course, and a lot of people just really appreciate that. Ron's not gonna sing sunshine and rainbows or unicorns or whatever. He's gonna show you exactly what's going on and guide you through it. That's the important thing. He's gonna be there to guide you right through it.
It's
Right?
always nice, it's not nice, but I will say this. It's kind of like, when we have a streak of 2 or 3 losers like that, and people are like, Ron, what am I doing wrong? It's like, you've seen my account too, right? You're not doing anything wrong. You're doing everything right. It's just that we're in one of those streaks. So, that's one of the things that I do. I don't take any trade, that I talk about here at VectorVest, and I teach with my options paycheck courses, and I teach with the income challenge. I don't do anything that's not in front of a client. All of my options tradings are done in my coaching groups and stuff. So you can see upfront what I'm doing and what my results are too. That's the beauty of it.
And Joe just typed in. Joe is the gentleman who I was talking to about he couldn't believe the results. He said, Ron is an excellent teacher. So you just, thank you for
Thank
sharing
you.
that, Joe. Appreciate that. Well, I appreciate it on Ron's behalf. I will accept all of Ron's praise that you want to
Yes.
send into the chat.
If you have
All right,
anything
Ron,
positive to add, please share it with us.
let's see. So, Ron, I flagged a few questions that I want to grab from Scott and Bijo and Masood and so on. Scott says basically about asking for help after he goes through the training. And now he's asking about help beyond the month, but I thought it'd be good to just recap the amount of help that people get during the challenge. I mean, it's insane the amount of live sessions that you give. You get the training sessions, once a day for the first week that include a Q&A at the end. And then you get together with people twice a week. You get the live trade on Mondays, and then you get a follow-up on Friday. I mean, and that's 8 sessions there. And there's a lot of hand-holding that gets on during that month. And with this being I know it's going to sound weird if I call it a simple trade, but it is. But I know some of you might not be feeling like, oh, I don't know options right now. It's not simple yet. It will be when it's all done. But with such a simple trade, you're going to be able to do this. You're not going to need somebody there watching over your shoulder every single step of the way. And Ron, before I pass it over to you to give your 2 cents on this one, I just remembered that, Scott, one of the other cool things you get is a spreadsheet, which is not only a trade tracking spreadsheet, but if you use the spreadsheet, every column will guide you through the trade. It'll just tell you exactly what to do. All right. So with all that, Ron, I kind of went on there, but what would you say to Scott, who might be a little bit worried about having troubles beyond the challenge?
Yeah, I don't think you will because again, the thing about this is it's one trade on the S&P. And again, we have the whole month of October. We're really going to be working together too with the Q&As on Friday and the live trade. I think with the resources that we have, if this was like the options paycheck where we're trying to find stocks, we got to understand chart patterns and support and resistance levels and mitigations and all that kind of stuff. I definitely could see some more of the long-term concerns, but with the S&P, it's pretty easy. There's really not much that, we can't teach you and see all the scenarios within a good 30-day period.
All right, next up, we had 2 people ask a similar question. So we had Bijo ask, do we need a tool? And Masood said, I'm already a VectorVest subscriber. Do I need anything more? So like, are there extra tools that somebody needs to do these trades?
No, not from us. All you need is a broker that can do option spreads. So Thinkorswim, Ally, Fidelity, Schwab, any broker that can trade an option and can trade an option spread, you got the information you need in there. So there's nothing that you need from us to do this trade. You don't even need VectorVest. We like our market timing, just so you know, but I'll show you how to do it with the S&P as well. But just a broker that can do an option spread trade has everything you need.
Since you brought that up, I'm going to skip down to Rudolph's question, because you mentioned VectorVest and market timing. That was basically his question. He says, the key is to determine the market's direction. How do you do it? Well, the how we do it is taught in the course, Rudolph, but we do use a market timing from VectorVest, built into VectorVest, but Ron will show you an alternative if you don't use VectorVest's market timing. So the exact rules are taught to you.
Yep.
All right, so going back up here, Ron, to Enos. Enos says, on average, how much money do you make on one option trade?
It is on the S&P, it's an average of $150 per contract. So the average gain is $150 a contract, and the average loss is about $150 a contract.
Now, Ron, how does that work? Did you just say that the average win is like the same as the average loss?
Exactly.
How do you make money?
with probability. That's where the probability comes in, giving the trade room to be right, even if you're wrong on the market direction. And that's where the probability comes in.
All right. So you basically have more winners than you do losers.
Exactly.
All right. So we have Brian, not me. We have another Brian. This Brian happens to be from Canada. He says, I am a Canadian investor. Will this only apply to US investors?
No, I mean, we have a lot of Canadian clients that do this. So you can be anywhere as long as you can trade, the SPX cash options from, the CBOE, which again, we have a lot of clients in Canada that do this. So you can do this from anywhere. We have clients from Australia that do this. As long as you can do, SPX options, you can do it.
All right. Next up is Wes. Wes says, how do we access the recordings?
When you sign up for the course, you're going to get access to our university site, and then everything will be listed right in there for you to get access to the recordings, the schedules, and everything that you need from there.
All right, we just have a few more here. Before I get to these other questions, just a quick reminder for everybody. If you are an alumni of our options paycheck course, you could do one of a few things. Well, first off, you can get this instead of $295, you can get it for $95. You could either order by typing into the chat, and John will do his best to get you the special link just for you. But he'll have to pull up your account and double check and verify that you've taken the paycheck course. You could call the phone number that you see there on the screen. You could call that number anytime between now and Monday when we have registration close. Or you could check your email, because we would have sent you an email sometime over the last few days, and we'll send you another one before the registration closes with a special link in it for the $95. All right, so that's a few ways that you could register for your special discount as a Paycheck alumni. The other thing, a quick reminder, is that registration does close Monday. So you only have about a little less than 4 days from now. It'll be Monday at 5 o'clock Eastern. So you have a little less than 4 days to register. This $295 is only available for the next about 35 minutes. Okay. All right. So going back to the questions, Ron, we had a question again from Rudolph wondering, he says, are these 1 month trades? So I'll say if you're asking about what the expiration date is on the trades, we'll teach that in the course. But Ron, on average, how long do these trades last?
You're going to be in these trades for about 3 to 5 days on average. So not day trading. You're going to, they're overnight trades, but about 3 to 5 days on average is our normal holding time. So the idea is to do one a week.
This next question is asking about the size of the trading account. So it says, what is the minimum amount we need to make our first trade?
$5,000 based on our risk. The way we use the risk is $5,000 for one contract.
All right. Next up is, it looks like a bunch of people are talking to John in the chat saying, hey, I'm an options paycheck alumni. So thank you for typing all those into the chat. Let's see. I'm just trying to skip past all those. And I'm still getting, there's a lot of interest from our Paycheck alumni. I'm just going person after person asking about the special link for Paycheck alumni. And Michael says, how do you determine the expiration date of the options? Well, we basically tell you exactly what it should be for the trade. All right. I'm looking, and let me go back up to Scott. Scott had registered, I believe. Yeah, so Ron, Scott took this, either the paycheck or the challenge before, and he said he got a little frustrated because at the time he did it, the market was suffering through a lot of these whipsaws, like up and down and up and down. And I'm just gonna say, like, what would you say to somebody who they kind of tried to do this during a rough patch? I know we kind of covered it a little bit earlier with Joe's question, but since Scott just brought it up again, it must be a concern for Scott and maybe others about these rough patches that they may incur.
Right. No, it's definitely can be a concern for sure. The thing is, you're going to have patches like that. You're going to have periods like that. If you want to see the long-term results, you just got to stick through them, because yeah, there's there's times when, I've not made money for 2 or 3 months using a system like this. And that's a bummer. And I wish that there was a way that I could never do that again. But you're going to go through periods like that. But the bad thing is if you give up or you stop, then you miss that 12% month where you might have 4 winning trades. Then you miss that month where, you miss the next 3 months where you do this. Like I'll give you guys an example last year. And as Brian said, I'm very upfront. You know, I ended up making last year, I didn't quite get my 2.5% goal last year. But I ended up making all of my money basically in the last 4 months of the year. Had I given up and, where I went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth for the first, 6, 7 months of the year, if I wouldn't have stuck it out and done the last 4 months, I would have probably had a loss. I didn't do that. I just kind of stuck with the program, stuck with the plan, and again, ended up making money for the year. So I know it's tough, but you're going to have those streaks like that. We all have them. You gotta keep the trades going because there's no telling when those streaks are going to stop. And when the next wave of 15 winning trades in a row happen. That's one of the things about the system that you just have to kind of keep working at.
I thought you were going to say you got to keep on keeping on. I was like, Ron is not going to say that, is he? All right. So those of you who, I forgot to welcome everybody who said that they were in. I know some of you did not type it in, but I just saw, is it John? John O just typed in, said, I'm all signed up, and he put a nice smiley face. And there's a bunch of you who signed up earlier that I missed your names. So welcome to all of you. One of you just typed in, I don't think we've got your name listed. It just says investor success. So maybe we don't have your first and last name on file. But so if you just typed in the word in, just type in your name and I'll welcome you by name. But welcome to all of you. Ron, there was one other question from Michael, which I thought was interesting to ask, especially with what happened in the market yesterday with the Fed and the interest rate decision.
Yep.
Obviously, there's going to be events like that. And Michael says, do you take into account what the Fed is doing for these trades?
The answer is you can or you don't have to. I don't typically do it where I just like on Monday, I placed the trade. I anticipated the Fed was going to reduce rates and I anticipated the market was going to go up. The market's bullish anyway. You can and say, you know what, I'm just going to sit this one out. We have clients that sit the trades out. They said, you know what, I'm waiting for the announcement. They put their trades on yesterday after the announcement happened. Well, they're pretty happy today because I think the S&P went up like 95 points because we're in an uptrend right now. But it's completely up to you. You can skip that stuff. 90% of the time, I just trade right through it. And, I know some of you might be sort of, Ron, what happens if, the market does that? Well, remember I told you the average winning trade's about 150 and the average losing trade's about 150? Well, over the course of this 6 years, my largest winning trade was actually $300 per contract. Now, this is per contract, by the way. So if you're trading 5 contracts, that's $150 times 5 or $150 times 5 on the loss. When the market gaps in your favor because of overnight news, sometimes the wins can be larger. Well, sometimes when the market gaps against you, sometimes the losses can be larger. That happens too. So that's the cool thing is it's all kind of factored into the grand scheme. Sometimes the news overnight's going to go against you. Sometimes the news overnight's going to go in your favor. Either way, in the grand scheme of all the trades, it works itself out.
All right. I got the name of the gentleman. Pablo, welcome aboard. Great to have you in the class. John H. We got a lot of Johns, it looks like. John H., welcome aboard. And we do have one other question that I just lost here. There it is from Greg. Greg says, is this just purchasing the class? There's no like long-term thing, like for a year? And the answer is, yeah, you're just purchasing this challenge, which is going to teach you an income system you can use for the rest of your life. So that's the part that's the long, you say no long-term value. You might be thinking long-term commitment or long-term package or whatever. It does have long-term value. It's an income system that you could use for the rest of your life. So you're basically creating that's why we call it an income challenge, which we teach you the SPX paycheck system. That's why we call it the paycheck. You're basically making it so that you can get a paycheck for the rest of your life. But Ron, with that, I'm gonna tell everybody we're excited to begin this. but I'm going to pass it over to you so that you could wrap things up and say whatever you want for the rest of the session.
All right. Well, I'm also excited. I love this one, even more than the paycheck, which I truly, truly love. I love it because the results are fast. We're going to be together for a week. We're going to put trades on. It's going to be beautiful. So I do love this as well. So for those of you that are in, welcome. We're going to start next week. And again, mark September 30th on your calendar. That's going to be the first time we get together to place a live trade. And again, if you're not ready to do it by that time, we're going to be together all during the month of, October, working on these together with the Friday Q&As and the Monday trades that we do. You're going to get this. This is something that, I am firmly confident that everybody will be able to do. It's a good system. It's been the backbone of my trading now for really the past 15 years. And it's definitely something that we can all take advantage of, which is great. Okay. With that, I will bid all of you a farewell and a fine good evening to you. I hope to see you next week as we start the live presentations on the Investing Income Challenge. So thanks again and see you next week. Take care, everyone.